Cultural overview. Chinese people respect hierarchy and appreciate proper social relations, full of harmony with the minimum confliction. Families in cities tend to live in apartments, often with grandparents. China has 55 different ethnic groups within its own language or dialect. However, Mandarin Chinese is spoken by more than 70% of people in China. Chinese view health as a balance of yin and yang. Chinese culture. The Chinese culture emphasizes loyalty to family and devotion to traditions. They put less emphasis on individual feelings, assess your patient's kinship relationship, and determine which family members are most influential in decision making. When possible, engage the whole family in discussions that involve decisions and education about care. Families often shield patients from bad news in the belief that the news will have a negative impact on the patient's health. Patients belonging to the Chinese culture may be hesitant to have surgery as it alters the full complement of the body. People in the Chinese culture place a high value on respect. They hold doctors and healthcare workers in a high regard and may nod and say yes, but does not necessarily indicate an affirmative answer or agreement to treatment. So it is important to give the patient time to respond with their thoughts and opinions, to strive for a clear, direct answer. Confirming their decision on treatment is necessary to avoid miscommunication and misunderstanding. They also give the patient a sense of being heard and understood. A respect and kind smile while avoiding direct contact will affiliate, building a rapport with a patient.
Traditional Chinese medicine. The body is viewed as an integrated whole. Each component and structure are a necessary and vital part of the whole. In the Chinese culture, a person is always connected to nature, and the changes in nature are reflected in the body. The Chinese believe prevention is the best cure, and that a person is born with a natural self-healing ability. Traditional Chinese medicine uses a variety of approaches and herbal products to address health problems. It is believed that these herbs have an impact on keeping yin and yang balanced.
This is a chest of drawers that is an antique, the most traditional part of a medical hall. It's more than 100 years old, and we house more than 600 overall herbs in here. This is hawthorn. It's very commonly used as part of prescriptions because it's excellent for helping with digestion. This is not really medicine, it's a fruit. That's why there are a lot of teas that also use this. This is aged orange peel. It's completely different from if we eat orange at home and then we peel out and we dry them. These are actually very old. So orange peel is very interesting because it's very nice and citrusy, but at the same time it has a very nice mellow taste. And its purpose is actually to li qi, meaning that it actually strengthens and gives qi to your lungs. So people who have been coughing for a very long time, it does strengthen the lungs and help the lungs to not feel so tight. We have many mortars and pestles. There are certain herbs that have to be broken into small pieces to have larger surface area, or there can be certain types of herbs which have very high aromatic oil content, and we will actually crush them before we put them into prescriptions or before we put them into different kinds of products. This is the other traditional part of our medical hall where we have a lot of herbs and tonics which are available for customers to choose. You will see lots of ginseng, bird's nest, cordyceps, and when I say traditional, I mean that the things over here need to be prepared in some way. This is red lingzhi. There are many different kinds of lingzhi with different colors, and red lingzhi is the one that actually has the medical properties. This is is part of the mushroom family. It's a type of fungus. They are in this traditional part of our medical hall because they need to be sliced before they can be used. This is the way they are after they have been sliced. Lingzhi is used for boosting immunity, strengthening the body, and enhancing metabolism. This is one of the most commonly used herbs in my opinion, and we highly recommend it for people who are tired.
Exercise and balance. People of the Chinese culture are big on exercise and balance. This is referred to as the practice of Tai Chi and Qigong. The combination of Tai Chi and Qigong are demonstrated as slow, intentional movements, meditations, and breathing exercises. The Chinese exercise focuses on balance, circulation, and alignment rather than weight, body shape, and heart health. Although their way of exercising does improve all of the above. In 2019, statistics showed that only 10.8% of the Chinese male population were overweight, and only approximately 15% of the Chinese female population were overweight. According to studies, about 67% of the Chinese population participate in exercise for about 30 minutes or more every day. And according to the Chinese medicine approach of exercise, it is recommended that 2 days of the week, exercise is focused on muscle strengthening. The next slide is a demonstration of the Chinese traditional exercise.
Acupuncture grew out of the ancient Chinese philosophy of yin and yang. The pathways created through acupuncture create an energy flow called qi that is responsible for overall health. Chinese dietary needs and restrictions. The Chinese believe what you eat and drink influences the balance of yin and yang. They believe you should eat according to the seasons and follow such rules as not drinking or consuming liquids that are cold during the winter. In fact, the Chinese don't put ice in their drinks because they think it causes an imbalance in the yin in your body, and believe that eating seasonal foods is important, like during the autumn eating less spicy foods, in the winter perhaps eating less salty foods. The Chinese diet revolves around the concept of balancing yin or cooling foods with yang or warming healthy foods. For example, if you have a cold, it is thought that this is due to consuming too many cooling or yin foods.
Religious beliefs. China is a multi-religious country. Taoism, Islam, Buddhism, Protestantism, and Catholicism have all grown into culture-shaping neighborhoods during Chinese history. Confucianism, Taoism, and Buddhism are considered as three pillars of ancient Chinese society. The majority of Buddhist believers are Han Chinese. Han Chinese practice a historical and or cultural Buddhism rather than the daily practice. It can be difficult to count their exact numbers. Whilst Buddhism is the most prominent religion in China, 90% of the Chinese population do not associate themselves with any religion. Death and dying. Chinese people strongly believe in ancestor spirits and perform ceremonies to pay respect to their ancestors and other loved ones who have passed on. Traditional funeral rituals and ceremonies are designed to help the soul of the departed find its way into the next world.
Death and dying. The Chinese concept of yin spirit and gu bone implies that the spirit survives physical death, and this belief informs the ongoing reverence and care given to the dead. The Chinese people often wear white to funerals. Although Chinese view dying as a natural process, this is considered taboo to speak about death for the fear of bringing bad luck. They prefer to die at home surrounded by family than in a healthcare facility. Rituals surrounding death can be elaborate, such as burning fake money and offering food at a table. Organ donation is not accepted, as it is important for the body to remain whole even in death.
Effects of Chinese culture on nursing care. Modesty is important and should be respected. Female patients may be uncomfortable with a male nurse, and vice versa. Male patients may be uncomfortable with a female nurse. It's important to remember that a yes may merely mean I heard you, not necessarily an agreement to care. So it is necessary to confirm agreement to care or disagreement to care. Chinese people do not ordinarily touch each other during conversation, so explanations for touching are important.
Due to the many varied dialects in China, it may be difficult to acquire a translator that speaks the same dialect as the patient. Because of the polite nature of the Chinese culture, patients will hesitate to express pain or anxiety. It is important for the nurse to pay attention to nonverbal communication. The Chinese culture places a great deal of emphasis on respect, and so patients may try to not be demanding because they don't want to be disrespectful to the nurse. So it's important for the nurse to not assume that just because the patient doesn't ask for anything or doesn't say that they have pain, that they don't, or that they don't need anything. So it's important for the nurse to assess nonverbal cues and make sure that they are meeting the needs of their patient. It's also important for the nurse to remember to include the family in care decisions, and remember that the way the Chinese view death, although they view it as a natural process, they will probably most likely not want to sign a DNR order.
What are some of the dietary considerations of people in the Chinese culture?
So I know that they don't have ice in their drink, and they believe that they should eat by the seasons.
What are some considerations concerning the end of life?
I learned that the Chinese people don't, they believe that the body is a whole, and so, they don't believe in organ donation.
The concept of yin and yang is also important in the Chinese diet. Which types of food correspond to yin and yang?
So, if I'm remembering correctly, I think the yin was the cooling foods and the yang are the warming foods.
What do the majority of Chinese citizens consider themselves to be concerning religion?
Okay, China's several different religions in China. Most of the people consider themselves not religious.
What is the official language of China?
Mandarin.